and we have to look at 2023 World Cup. So that is in jeopardy right now. I don't think even if we are playing good, our best cricket, it's gonna be easy because
In the past 2 years, we've had 12 captains, and yet again another change.
Richmond College Gaul has been one of the top coolest cricket outfits in the country, and Damika Sudarshan is the guy who's been behind that.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Around the Wickets, where we discuss everything that is cricket in the country and also internationally. And joining with me today as well, it'll be Estelle Vasudevan and Shamikan Sridharan. How are you all?
doing good, Peter.
Doing great.
All right, brilliant, guys. Despite, today this episode would have been a pre-game episode if the India tour of Sri Lanka did commence as initially planned, but unfortunately, due to due to some positive COVID cases in the Sri Lankan camp, it has been postponed. The Indian series has been postponed, so the eager fans of Sri Lanka who are eager to get some cricketing action will have to wait a little bit longer, as the one days will commence on the 18th, the second one being on the 20th and the 23rd, followed by the T20 tournament. Now, Megan, just to give an idea, now Sri Lanka batting coach Grant Flower and also the Sri Lankan analyst tested positive for COVID-19. Because of that, Sri Lanka did have a little bit of a concern whether they'll be able to field any players from the England tour side. But we've received news now that all the players have tested negative, which is a very, very good thing. And Sri Lanka have announced a brand new squad, basically. There have been some omissions of course, the three who breach the bio bubble are not included. Also, who are not included are Nuwan Pradeep and Oshada Fernando. And new additions are in the likes of Lahiru Kumara, Bhanuka Rajapaksa, Minod Bhanuka, Lahiru Udara, and Ashen Bandar. But again, Bhanuka Rajapaksa is yet to join with the group because he had to be isolated as well, because Sandur Virakodi, one of the players who were staying with him, tested positive. What do you think about the new squad that was announced for Indian series, and how do you see things shaping up for Sri Lanka?
Yes, Sudarshan, I think, well, these are new beginnings because we've six replacements and we were forced to make them. But with these people coming in, I think we could see the positive side of this, and think that there is a good opportunity of balancing the side from what we played in England. We know England was one of our worst performances with the bat, so I'd like the fact that there are four batsmen who are coming in and just one bowler. So I think, actually, yeah, four batsmen and a bowler is coming in. So that shows the fact that Sri Lanka cricket is looking at that poor batting seriously, and they're gonna take steps. And also, since we are playing in Sri Lanka, friendly conditions for our batsmen, that's going to be a confidence boost. So we have to cut a slack for them. They are going through a rough patch right now, so they have to come back strong. So for that, they need some support, and I think this is the idea. And also, when playing against a team like India, I think every good knock boosts two times of whatever the confidence you're gonna gain, because it's like beating one of the best teams and playing against one of a few best bowlers. Bhuvneshwar Kumar is a pro in what he does. So playing against this kind of an attack, it's good. It's good for the batsman. And yeah, that's about it. I think we have to start looking at the positive, Sudarshan, and I think that's what the players will be thinking of also.
The Sri Lankan pool is currently training in Dhaka, and once they pass through their PCR test, they will be eligible to play in the first ODI. Now, Estelle, one big concerning fact, as soon as this squad was announced, was the fact that the change of captaincy. Yet again, two series, Kusal Pereira was the captain. Now he's been sidelined for Dasun Shanaka to be made captain. Now, very interesting fact here, because Dasun Shanaka was named the captain for the West Indies series, although he couldn't make it to West Indies. due to some logistical issue with his passport. Now again, Dasun Shanaka has been handed over the captaincy. How healthy is this for Sri Lanka cricket? Because we know in the past 2 years we've had 12 captains, and yet again another change. It's not healthy at all, we know. But what would be the team dynamics inside? Because Kusal Pereira, who lost his captaincy, is going to be part of that team.
Yeah, definitely, Sudarshan, as you mentioned, it's not a good place to be. But in terms of Dasun Shanaka, we've seen that he does have something that it takes to lead a team. He's the guy who led Sri Lanka to the three T20 win against Pakistan. I mean, that was like a very significant achievement at the time with a young group of players. So he does have, I think, something in him to lead. So it would be interesting to see how he goes about things. In terms of Kusal Pereira, I think one key thing that we can look forward to is now he doesn't have the burden of captaining the team. And we don't know whether he will retain the gloves as well. We might see someone else coming in to do the wicket keeping. So that's a positive for us. In terms of the pressure that he was on in England, it was incredibly difficult for him. You know, he had to open the batting, he had to keep because he had to captain the team in difficult conditions against a very tough opposition. So in this instance, a little bit of that pressure is off him now. He does not have to captain the team. But I will say one thing. I think Sri Lankan players also need to realize that you don't have to be the captain to be a leader in the team. You don't have to have the captaincy badge to be a leader. You can lead through many other ways. I think that's what we've seen in successful teams. If you look at a team like England, I mean, Owen Morgan is the captain, but they have a leadership group. They have guys like Josh Butler, Ben Stokes, who lead through performance. They are not necessarily holding leadership positions, but they still lead. So I think Sri Lanka, the team within, also needs to find that balance where guys who aren't captain or vice captain don't think, okay, this is his responsibility, this is Chanaka's responsibility. Now they gave it to him, he needs to take care of it, but instead contribute in ways that would help the team grow. And as a leader, I think he would really be appreciative of that kind of support from guys like Kusal Pereira, who has a lot of experience in the international level.
Just to add to it, Sudarshana, now it's, Dasun Chanaka being the captain, we saw this in Pakistan also when they went with a young group of players. The feeling of one among them being there, and also the being able to relate to him. So that made a unity among the team that brought them around Dasun Shanaka. That didn't like that was not seen like you are a junior, you are just still making up your way. So all of a sudden, how can that was not the feeling there. It was like we have to prove them wrong. We have to show something. We have to make use of this opportunity. So let's all group, and we saw how people help them. People like even Bhanuka Rajapaksa, though he has not played enough for international cricket, we saw how he chipped in, how he was there among the group with his experience of playing 10 years of first class cricket. So that is what is going to be reflected when Dasun Chanaka comes into this scene as a captain again. And Kusal Janit Pereira plays like Kusal Janit Pereira or DDS. They are going to be rallying around him, and we know that Dasun Chanaka has a good rapport with everyone. And this is what Dimut Karna Ratna did when he was going to the 2019 World Cup. That is why we were able to put a performance slightly better than what everyone expected. I won't even say slightly. We did put a good show. I mean, we could have easily had a good chance if two games were not washed away. So that is the kind of unity we need right now because there is so much of adversity in front of them. So they have to prove everyone wrong. For that, I think this kind of a unity is very vital.
Absolutely. I think just to reiterate what Estelle said, having a strong leadership group inside the side is imperative because that's where the push comes for the younger guys as well. We saw how England just assembled a team a week before the tournament started and completely whitewashed Pakistan in England. And some of those players were readying for county games and they've become international stars, and that is because of the fact that they had a very good foundation laid with the leadership group who could lead them in the same style of play that Owen Morgan would have. And like Shamigan mentioned, the togetherness Dasun Shanaka managed within the team, especially during the Pakistan tour as well. If we can bring that on, I think that will be a brilliant aspect. But just to ask you another question, Shamigan, initially, when Kusal Pereira was appointed as the skipper of the side, Chief of Selectors Vikramasinghe did make a very interesting statement. He said there were many other options that we looked at, but we wanted to select a player who warrants his place, who has a place in the playing 11 in ODIs and T20s. So, do you see Dasun Shanaka playing in the ODI team and the T20 team on merit, not as the captain but on merit any day?
Of course, Sudarshan, of course. Because he was the highest run scorer in England. England. I mean, he played in pressure situations, and I won't say that was the best ODI knocker that any international cricketer could put. But among this lot, I think he played some delightful knocks. We saw not just in this tour, even in Bangladesh, and even before that in West Indies. He's been able to put that 50, 60 runs consistently, but just not making that cut. But I think it would have been more effective if he was allowed to play in his normal role, where he comes in about 35th over, or in between that area, that range, and then he has the freedom to go about his own shots. So that was not there for him. He had to block down. He had to play a different role, but I think he managed quite well.
All right. Now moving on from the appointment of the new captain, as we spoke earlier, unfortunately, the batting coach of the Sri Lankan outfit, Ron Flower, and the performance analyst of Sri Lanka has fallen ill with COVID-19, and we do wish them very well. But uh, some concerning news coming from the Sri Lankan camp is that Grant Flower might see the axe after he comes out from after he recovers actually. And currently, Dhammika Sudarshan, who was the under-19 coach, has been appointed as the batting coach for the Indian tour of Sri Lanka. Now, Estelle, a very interesting appointment. Dhammika Sudarshan was appointed as the under-19 coach, looking at the approaching World Cup. But Dhammika Sudarshan has quite a few disciples of his in the current national team while he was coaching them at school. What do you think Dharmika Sudarshan's involvement in the national setup would bring to Sri Lanka cricket?
Yeah, actually, I think it's a quite an interesting choice, particularly because he doesn't have too much experience at the highest level. But it could prove to be a good thing, as you mentioned. You know, I think over the last decade, Richmond College Gaul has been one of the top schools cricket outfits in the country, and Dhamika Sudarshan is the guy who's been behind that team. Guys like Charit Asalanka, Vanindu Hasaranga, even Dhananjay De Silva, all coming through his tutelage. So it could be a good move. I think a lot of former cricketers also came out before this appointment, mentioning how a Sri Lankan in the role in the smaller roles other than head coach could make a difference to the team. So although this is a short-term appointment, uh, it would be interesting to see how the players, work under him and what kind of impact he's able to have. uh, I don't think we will see a massive uh, difference just because he's been brought in, because it's such a short period that he's been able to spend with the players. But it will be interesting to see. I mean, of course, Sri Lanka will be wanting to improve on the performance that we saw in the last season. So there could be something positive to come out of it, particularly as he would be able to communicate better with the players.
Absolutely, and also, Shamigan, very interesting point to bring out with this appointment of Dhamika Sudarshan is the fact that, like Estelle mentioned, he will be able to communicate better with the players, and also he's been part of the high performance center, which is based in R. Premdasa for a long, long time. So basically, what he brings to the table is expertise about those conditions. So he will have very very good knowledge about those conditions, and he would have worked with some of these players extensively, like in the likes of Charita Salanka, who was part of the Sri Lanka A outfit for a long time, and he knows him from school days. So when you have a person like that mentoring you in international duty, how important will that be for the players?
This also narrows down again to Darshana for the way we play right now. Right, in international cricket, it is more than coaching; it is more of man management. But I think we've messed that up already. So we need a bit of coaching up there also, and that is the element what Damika Sudarshana brings in. He is an expert in building up characters and building up uh, players from the scratch. So he knows the building blocks of how a good player is made. So, and of course we have the testimony in how many players he has given to under 19 and Sri Lanka cricket. And so that is what Sudarshana brings in, along with the expertise that R Premadas, as he's been in like day in and day out at R Premadas. He knows how the tracks work of this time, like right now, because we've not played international cricket for a long while in R Premadas because of renovations. So that is one aspect if we can look at. But more than that, what I think is he brings that building blocks. Along with that, having a Sri Lankan coach and that communication thing, it is more than communication. It is bringing the familiarity. These players have been working with people like Sudarshan or Chamindavas day in and day out, even if they were not a part of Sri Lanka international setup. I know players personally talk to Chamindavas and see what they can get out of it. They do sessions. So those kind of familiarity is what they bring in. And we saw results of in our fast bowling department. I can't totally say it is because of Chamindavas that we have seen this kind of a improvement, but we saw a sign or two about how the players have understood what their roles are. Players have worked technically, how they have gotten themselves corrected. So those things were right in recent times. So we just can't say there is no impact from Chamindas, and we know that he's been like since we are being close and we are seeing what is happening behind the screen. So we kind of know how closely Chamindavas is working right now. So that is the environment, that is the familiarity that the Sri Lankan coaches will bring in Sudarshan, especially in the smaller roles, in the specialized roles.
All right, just to clear out, when Megan mentioned about the Sudarshan impression made, he was referring to the Ambika Sudarshan, who is the new batting coach of the national outfit. All right, just now that we have that cleared, guys, Megan, you were a very strong advocate of us focusing on the cricket and not the drama that surrounds it currently in Sri Lanka, because there's a lot of negatives that we can see if we are to focus on the drama, but it's a fact that we can't look away from, is the fact that the Sri Lankan players are effectively not going to have a contract for 2021. How will that affect the mentality of the players, and will that reflect on their performances?
So this is again a tricky one. I could be a complete what do you say, a conservative person, or I can say, we have to. I could come across as a conservative person or someone really looking at things practically. So yes, a contract is needed, and that is how professional cricket works right now. But is everything else in place right now in Sri Lanka cricket is the first question, Sudarshan. Are the players doing their part right? Are the administrators doing their part right? So who is going to correct this? So, but one thing the players should remember is all those whatever the problems going behind the scene will not be reflected. The face of Sri Lanka cricket is these players, So as long as they keep playing cricket, only ICC is gonna fund us. Only then money is gonna come in. Only then advertisers are gonna come in. Only by then they are gonna grow. So who is risking more over here? These administrators, half of them or more than half of them. If Sri Lanka cricket is not there for them, it doesn't matter. Really does not. They have their ventures, they have their businesses going on. So maybe they could reflect, go back to whatever it is. But if Sri Lanka cricket is not there, what happens to Sri Lankan cricketers is the fact. So if a contractual barrier is there, yes, they are giving you a poor contract. Go play and prove yourselves first, because you have not put up performance, like you're not the world champions right now. That is my mentality. Well, this is also, as I said, people could look at me as a really conservative person who are coming in as harsh on players, but I am on the players' side at the same time. I know this is important, but at the same time, they have to play their part also, Darshana. They have to go and win some games. If the contractual issues are there, yes, let's talk about it. But first thing is playing cricket, and we have to look at 2023 World Cup. So that is in jeopardy right now. I don't think even if we are playing good, our best cricket, it's gonna be easy because we just saw South Africa getting beaten by Ireland. So this ODI Super League concept is getting really really interesting, and we have to think of those things more than technically those things more than what these contractual issues and all those things. It's not like they're not paying them. They are paying their match fees, and they are paying their tour contracts. So I think they have to think of those kind of things and come to terms as soon as they can.
Yes, we really do hope that these contractual off the field issues are sorted as soon as possible so that Sri Lanka can totally focus on cricket. And now, talking about focusing on cricket, I think I'm quite glad that Estelle Vasudevani is part of this discussion because she's an avid fan of women's cricket. Estelle, Sri Lanka women's team hasn't played an international game in over 500 days. Do you see anything happening anytime soon? Do you see them playing again anytime soon, or what's happening with women's cricket in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, Sudarshan, as we were discussing off camera, I think, is it acceptable that a national cricket team has not played international cricket in 500 days? Would we be accepting that if it was the men's team? Wouldn't, right? And like I told you before, it seems like the women's team falls into the same category as all the other sports in Sri Lanka apart from rugby and men's cricket. Nobody cares. Do they even exist? Sometimes you wonder because there's so little exposure for those players. Of course, they're hiring new coaches. I think Hashan Tilakaratne was appointed very recently. They've got their training going on, everything like that. But how do you get better if you don't play? And if we compare them to the other teams, okay, so of course, England, Australia, India have played international cricket. That's to be expected. uh, you know, the three richest roads, the ones with the most resources. But also we've had teams like Pakistan, West Indies, New Zealand, Bangladesh all playing as well. We've even had teams like Germany playing. Yet Sri Lanka unable to get a game against anybody. So why is that? Is there enough focus? Is there enough effort being put into organizing a series? Um, I don't know. My understanding is that they are in talks with Pakistan to get a series going, but that's also, not confirmed yet. You think about it, someone like Tamariyata Pattu, the first woman, the first Sri Lankan to play in the Big Bash League. Um, the first to play in the English T20 league, the Natchez Park. Yeah, she hasn't played international cricket in more than 1.5 years. So how can anybody justify that, right? So it's very disappointing, I think, as a cricket fan. And I think what I also want to reiterate is that you don't have to be a woman to care about women's sport, right? I know many of my colleagues watch women's cricket when it's on TV, when it's available to us. So why isn't there is interest? Why isn't there interest on the part of the administrators to get something on board? Because it's valuable time in someone's career. I spoke about Chamari Atapattu, who is at the peak of her career. She's been scoring runs against Australia, uh, the top country in terms of women's cricket at the moment. Yet 1.5 years of her life, of her prime, now she's not going to get that time back. She's been fortunate enough, I think, to have earned a few contracts at the Big Bash and leagues like that. But what happens to everybody else? There's a lot to consider. I think we can make a completely different segment, a full segment on this itself. But overall, I think it's disappointing because there are qualifiers coming up for the World Cup. Sri Lanka is supposed to host them. Postponed from earlier this year to December now. What sort of preparation are the girls going to have before that tournament? Are they going to at least have one series? is that enough preparation then to qualify for a World Cup, to go and play a World Cup? Those are all things I think the officials need to answer, because this is international sport at the end of the day, right? Once they go and they fail, people are going to say, why should anyone back them? They're failing. But how do they get better if they don't play? It's a very disappointing situation.
Very, very interesting and a very, very important message there. And I really do hope that authorities will take note of this and will have a very improved effort rather to make sure that Sri Lankan women's cricket uh, just get the opportunities that they deserve. And Estelle, what we as the Popare.com I think about will continue to do is about this, because this is a very important issue that we need to discuss about. And in the coming around the wickets episodes as well, we will make it a point to make sure that we reiterate on this point of Sri Lankan women's cricket, that the fact that they haven't played international cricket, and if we can make a little change, I think that will be brilliant for the women's cricket team of Sri Lanka, which is a national representation team, and they are representing Sri Lanka. So we need to make sure that we them as much as we can as well. So with that, I think we've come to the end of our episode of Around the Wickets for this week. It's been brilliant speaking to the both of you. And next time when we meet, we will definitely meet after I think 2 games of the Indian series, and we really do hope that we have something to crow about from that. Thank you very much, Estelle and Megan, for joining us, and we look forward to meeting you next week. Well, with that, we come to the end of the Around the Wickets episode, and like we always tell you, the Popare.com cricket team is dedicated to bringing you everything that happens around the world in the cricketing front. And with the Indian series, we have plenty of things planned. So do log on to our Facebook page and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure that you visit www.thepopare.com/cricket, where you will be able to receive every bit of information that you need to be updated on cricket. Until next time, I'm Sudarshan Peri signing off for the Around the Wickets.
For premium content and exclusive member benefits, subscribe to thepopare.com today.